I can talk for hours about the Arts Council's history, its mission, its programs and events. But the event that overlaps with the Hoagland Center for the Arts in downtown Springfield is First Night Springfield. You know, I moved to Springfield to teach at Ursuline Academy in 1985, and I began attending First Nights, never thinking for a moment that I would end up organizing that community celebration of the arts. Lo and behold, through a few twists and turns, I became director of the Springfield Area Arts Council, an organization on whose board you once sat, and indeed First Night. Now, the first time that First Night Springfield happened at the Hoagland Center for the Arts was 20 years ago, and it was the grand opening of the building. And we continue at the Arts Council to host many of our performances and exhibits on New Year's Eve in this Center for the Arts. I was so happy when Gus Gordon invited me to serve on the board of the Hoagland Center. It would not have been appropriate while I was executive director, but now that I'm working only on a contract basis with the Arts Council, I certainly can fill that role on the Hoagland Center board. Because I worked as a director with boards of directors, because I've chaired other nonprofit boards, I felt I could come onto this board and be a contributor and not just a placeholder. Everyone on the board of directors at the Hoagland approaches each topic from a wealth of experience, and they carefully balance their perspectives with the mission of the Hoagland Center. So it's a delight for me to be at board meetings and to see the commitment of such a wide range of individuals, all focused on making sure this institution thrives. I'm so glad you asked that question. It echoes the content of a presentation that I gave to the Citizens Club some time ago. And in researching for that presentation, I came up with this information from Americans for the Arts, a national nonprofit. Nonprofit arts and culture organizations are businesses. They're members of their chambers of commerce. They pay taxes. They run as businesses. The arts derive commerce to local businesses as well. The arts, unlike most industries, leverage significant amounts of event-related spending by their audiences. Attendees spend an average of $31 per person per event beyond the cost of admission on items such as meals, parking, lodging. This is vital income for local businesses. Arts travelers are ideal tourists. They stay longer and spend more to seek out authentic cultural experiences, and small investment yields big returns. The combined $5 billion in direct arts funding by local, state, and national governments yielded $27 billion in government revenue. And those are big numbers. I live on the north end of Springfield, and just within the last few days, we have an art exhibit about baseball at the Springfield Art Association. The Springfield Municipal Band played in the yard of Edwards Place. A traveling Shakespearean troupe of actors and actresses performed Shakespeare in the Park, Enos Park on North 7th Street, and more. That's all very nearby the Enos Park sculpture garden that's there year-round. And so really, within 6 blocks of a neighborhood north of our downtown hub, there's art every day, all day. I tell tourists to look at local newspaper publications, local Facebook pages, certainly visit Springfield, and they will find free music every night of the week somewhere in Springfield. And so many of our galleries have free admission. And I think that those offering those visual, performing, and literary arts experiences to residents and travelers speak to the vibrancy of this community, and they enrich the community. Certainly, it's a great reflection. We're more than Lincoln, honored citizen that he is, and it makes Springfield a good place to live, a good place to work, and certainly a great place to play. Part of my job at the Springfield Area Arts Council is to organize and run the regional and state contests for Poetry Out Loud. That's a national poetry recitation contest for high school students. So in this competition, which begins at the classroom level, then the school, then the regional, then the state, and then the national, high school students select from an online anthology of 1,000 poems. They choose 3 to rehearse, to analyze, to memorize, and then to recite before a panel of judges. So these high school students learn something about their literary history. They choose poems that reflect contemporary life. They learn public speaking skills. They build their self-confidence. So it's a wonderful program, and both the Central Illinois Regional and the Illinois State Contest are held here at the Hoagland Center for the Arts, coming up to now its 20th year in 2025. Over 7,000 students usually in Illinois are involved in the program. And the best of those from 8 regional contests around the state come to the Hoagland Center in early March. We use the LRS Theater on the main floor, and the students are thrilled. Many of them have never been in a theater that large, with professional lighting and professional sound, with many curtains and special effects. So it's grand for them. It's good for the building to bring the literary arts in such a superior way. The quality of their recitations, amazing, so that the Hoagland Center can host that quality. And my favorite moments within that structure, these students meet on a Sunday night with the contest on Monday morning. They don't know each other at all. We have an orientation meeting, they go to sleep, they wake up, they come here. And they are immediately supportive of one another. It's a contest. They're vying for the sole chance to represent Illinois at the national contest, which is an all-expense-paid trip for the student and her or his chaperone. And at the national contest, $20,000 is the prize. But these high schoolers, but these high schoolers who are relative strangers to one another, they applaud each other, they encourage each other, they talk among themselves, they share why they chose that poem, what they learned about that poet, why they care about the program, what else they do in their communities. And they leave vowing to stay in touch. And that's magic. It's magic of the arts. Craig, you know from theater that no matter the rehearsal season, that come opening night, something magical happens, and it all works. It pulls the audiences and the performers together. It's that same kind of thing with Poetry Out Loud, that urban residents from inner city Chicago and farmers from Southern Illinois have a chance to understand their commonality. No matter the differences, they unite around the arts, and in this case, poetry. The Hoagland Center is 20 years old. The building in which it is housed is much older, so there is constant maintenance and upkeep and modernization. We have a great staff and building crew here, and they work every day to make sure this building shines for the public. It's going to be a continual challenge. And that means continued attention and efforts, continued funding to make sure that the infrastructure here supports the scores of people of every race and gender and age and income level that come through these doors every day. So I hope 20 years from now, when I'm an older person, that I can still come here and see wonderful shows and witness wonderful art and the community that exists within these walls.